let's ask my guest what he thinks about the current agenda. So, Petras Austrevicius, member of the European Parliament, Lithuania, is my next guest. So, nice to meet you, Mr. Austrevicius.
Pleasure of mine. Very pleased to meet you and talk to you.
So, let's start with the issue of what was said by President Zelensky recently. The key thing now is, this is a quote, the key thing now is guarantees from partners that Ukraine's support will be sufficient next year as well. And weakening Ukraine means strengthening Russia. But the thing is, Ukrainians don't like the word guarantees because of the bad experience of the Budapest Memorandum, you know it, which also referred to security guarantees. What guarantees can we talk about now?
Well, as I understand the statement by President Zelensky is speaking about guarantees for military equipment supply, ammunition supply, as well as financial support, which is so needed for Ukraine. I mean, guarantees meaning that commitment by those partner countries which have supported Ukraine by now and must support, to my understanding, because we have no alternative whatsoever, only to go and to support Ukraine with all means and as long as it takes. I mean, this is very important, message. Ukraine should have no doubt about willingness and ability of countries in partnership supporting Ukraine. So that's why I would translate probably President's language into kind of the commitment of member states, those partner countries, for military as well financial support as much and as long.
So, you know, the phrase, we will support Ukraine as long as necessary, this is one of my favorites recently. So has this phrase, one more time, we will support Ukraine as long as necessary, turned into a symbolic one? Isn't it time to rephrase it like, we are ready to give Ukraine everything it needs to win? Who or what does it depend on in the first place? What do you think?
I think your later version is more precise. I would really subscribe, to that meaning of support, to support by victory of Ukraine, because those who speak in full support of Ukraine, I'm sure, they have understanding that Ukraine must prevail, Ukraine must win on a battlefield, as well as to be enough resilient in financial and other terms to overcome any additional difficulties which usually follow, war as such. So that's why, indeed, we should, from time to time, repeat this phrase, a victory, because Ukraine deserves a victory against the occupier. And I'm sure, all our efforts must be oriented towards achieving this state of play. Otherwise, to achieve a cold peace, so-called cold peace, a pause in at war, which would mean a frozen conflict. And we know that Russia is never accepting a frozen conflict. Frozen conflict for Russia, it's always a burning conflict. Look at what is going on in Georgia or any other places where the Russian footprint is found on the battlefield.
So I have taken into account all the tense situation. It's a very difficult situation everywhere in the United States and in the European Union. But Democrats and part of the Republicans and in the EU, in the USA or the European Union and, let's say, Hungary. Is there a way or a chance to sway those who have been against aid since the beginning of the war to the Ukrainian side?
Unfortunately, I believe we will face a reality, a part of reality where one or two might be still, having a different degree of understanding and probably readiness for support towards Ukraine. I really regret this situation. It shows that we have no unity. We have no complete understanding, and we're not standing for one strategy as such towards Ukraine. It's regrettable, but we have to survive through these political developments. I mean, landscape is not necessarily as favorable as it is. I mean, we see today, for example, a different political landscape in the Netherlands after the national elections. I mean, who knows what situation will be over there? But navigating through all those political minefields, we have to, in any case, find enough of strength and probably capacity to come up with the real solutions, because our words of solidarity, our support by reading only declarations and statements will not change things on a battlefield. And in Ukraine, where much of support is still needed, and nobody knows, for how long it will be needed. So things will be changed only by tangible things, only by bringing support, by transferring money on the accounts which will be used by the Ukrainian side. We can ensure that resilience of Ukraine will be guaranteed. So that's why I think we have to get used to an easy political landscape and smartly navigate through all those obstacles which are now on the way and probably will be even more in days to come.
Yeah, what do you personally associate with the rhetoric that in the future Europe can take on the main burden of helping Ukraine? Maybe burden is not a precise and proper word. Okay, let's say commitment.
Yes, I think we have to be open-minded and analyze each and every situation very frankly, understanding that things might change in politics, even in the US. I am not a supporter of the policy line of Mr. Trump, but I think that was the reason behind. To make such a statement as at that day X, when, for example, if Trump is back to the White House and he has a different understanding about the situation in Ukraine, we saw already his statements, which are worrisome and bring us, to a cold, feeling of reality. But who knows? What the situation might be, and in that case, I think we have to come up with the even more support for Ukraine from the EU and other partner countries to compensate as much as we can a loss of the contribution from US. I hope it will never happen. I'm sure Americans are our very solid and committed partner. They do understand that a war against Ukraine is not just, kind of the Russian-Ukrainian conflict. No, it has much broader definition. It's a geostrategic challenge. It's a challenge against the West, against European neighborhood. And here comes this kind of the clause on solidarity from transatlantic partnership. So that's why I really hope it will be not needed. But to bring this kind of the insurance guarantee, I think it's sometimes a needed thing on the right time.
Mr. Austrevicius, what do you think? What will happen with the aid of the United States for Ukraine if, for example, we know all this situation in the Congress? And is there any maybe plan B if the US Congress doesn't approve the bailout within a month?
Well, I'm very cautious optimist on the situation. Yes, but optimist in any case. I'm not a pessimist because I didn't see any major departure from the principle of support from the side of US. Yes, indeed. US Congress is locked in an easy situation, but Speaker of the Congress, Mr. Johnson, he made very encouraging statements, and I'm sure Republicans, those who feel a global involvement of US as a growing need, as a growing kind of responsibility of the United States of America, they will come back with the right solution in this regard. I don't see any alternative, frankly speaking. So if that decision is made by US, it will bring really overjoy to the Kremlin, and a lot of additional obstacles for Ukraine. I mean, to resist and to increase resilience. So that's why I'm hopeful that U.S. politicians will again talk among themselves. They will come back with the better coalitions and probably a principle under which this practical decision will be made. I'm really hopeful in finding the solution probably on the right time. Timing might be a better one. People in Congress and Senate might see a different historical opportunity in this regard. So that's why let's not over push for the time of being. Let's be patient and hope for a better outcome.
Thank you so much for your support, and thank you very much for this conversation, Mr. Austrevicius.
Thank you.
Thank you. And
thank you so much.
Bye-bye. Have a good one. Gerojem Slava.